Psalm 9:16. Tava'u goyim b'shachat asu. Bereshet zu tamanu nilkeda raglam. So here we get the goyim as the subject, and goyim is the nations. I may or may not have been known to call my students goyim in the past, but it was endearing. It was endearing. So here we have the nations. They sink down. Here we have a call perfect third common plural. Notice the shuric sufformative. And then the verbal root you can see here is tet, bait, and ayin. They sink down in the pit. And then we get something like a relative clause, but without the relative. In the pit they made. So here's another call perfect third common plural, but the verbal root now is ayin, seen, hey. And so we get the nations, they sink down in the pit they have made. And then we get the prepositional phrases flipped here. Up here we had in the pit they have made. Now we're going to get the prepositional phrase fronted. In the net they have hidden. And so we get those prepositional phrases flip-flopped in the parallelism, but here we get in the net. Then we have zu. Now zu can be a demonstrative, so this could be something like in this net, or zu can also be in the place of a relative, in the net which they have hidden. But I think in this case, because of the makef, we should see it tied to the reshet and see it here as a demonstrative. In this net, and again, we get this kind of implied relative here, like we saw up here in the previous clause. And so we get this implied relative, which they have hidden. And here the verbal root is tet, mem, nun. And what we have here is a call perfect. This is a third common plural again. Now, you might notice that we have this long vowel here in the R2 of this verbal form. Normally that's going to be a schwa in the third common plural form, but here it's not. And I think the reason here is this is a pausal form. So you notice this revia mugrash, which is a relatively heavy disjunctive accent here. And I think in this case, at least, it's heavy enough to warrant the pausal form there. Next, we get the nifal perfect third feminine singular. Notice that comet's hey at the end. The ni here at the front tells us that we're looking at the root lamed kaf dalit. So capture here is the idea. And then raglam, their foot. There's your third masculine plural pronominal suffix on regel. Their foot, regel, is third feminine singular. So we match it up with the verb here. Their foot has been captured. And so this last line then, in this net they have hidden, their foot is captured or has been captured.